Hey guys! So it's been 2 weeks since the last time I updated you, and I'm really sorry. Life just really gets in the way sometimes. But there's a lot to update you guys on. There's been a lot of stuff that's going on, stuff that's been planned, stuff that is... Oh my goodness. So, come here, you little... So we have new additions. We originally had 4, now we have 3. This one is mine. Oh, I know. I'm not letting you play, huh? I know. I'll put you down. Okay. But my sister's cat had little baby kittens, so I've been absolutely loving being able to play with them and cuddle with them and get my furry fix, especially since my black cat, which you've seen in previous videos, we've come to the conclusion that it got eaten by a coyote, and so I was fairly crushed. However, having little bitty babies that look like this have kind of helped with the ache. But yeah, so I was in the hospital, I got out, they changed my meds, and that's where we start. So I've been on the new medication, which is the propranolol, which is the medication that caps my heart rate so it doesn't go so high. And they also increased my imidodrin, which is my vasoconstrictor that helps with blood pooling. I was originally on 2.5, and they increased me to 10 milligrams. And so far, I have noticed that the propranolol seems to be helping. I don't necessarily feel like I'm running a marathon all the time. But I feel like probably the most kick that I get out of the new medication is the increase of the imidodrin, and I definitely can feel the difference between a 2.5 and a 10, because that kind of where your hair stands on end and you feel like your hair is feeling is a lot stronger with the increase in dosage. But so far, besides feeling tired a lot, especially right after I got out of the hospital, you need to not. I've got help. They're trying to climb onto my stand. Stop it up! Stop it up! But besides being tired for a good couple weeks after being in the hospital, I seem to be doing better. I seem to be a little bit more level. I don't feel like I'm necessarily as symptomatic as I was before. So final answer for the medication, it's not hurting. I'll keep taking it, and it seems to be doing its job, would be my answer. What else? I have officially started school this week for my biology degree, and boy howdy, it's been interesting. I am taking classes where the prerequisite to the class is something I haven't taken since 2012, 2013, 2014. Like, it's been a minute. And so one of my classes has information that I have not seen or touched in 4 years. So I've got a lot of rust on my brain. And also, obviously, my brain is still sinking. I still have the herniation of 3 millimeters instead of 4, apparently. According to all the scans that I got while I was in the hospital. But, Kitty! Shh! Quiet your face. But yeah, so my cerebellar herniation, my Chiari-1 malformation, was at 4. It's apparently now 3 millimeters below my foramen magnum, so there's that. So I guess that's an improvement. Otherwise, yeah. So obviously, this is a lot of stuff that I haven't touched in a really long time. I also haven't been in a, quote unquote, ass in a class kind of class where I actually have to be there and not have it be an online class in a long time. So there's that. And also, I do still have linker symptoms. I still have brain fog and everything else. So it's a combination of going back to school for honest to God classes, hard science courses for the first time in a long time, plus trying to do it with the Dysautonomia pods and all of my various leaks. So it's been interesting. There was one class that I really, really struggled with where I actually wouldn't have finished the assignment had someone not basically given me the answers, so I had something to turn in at the end. So that was pretty scary. I wasn't really a big fan as to how lost I felt in the class, so I feel like I'm going to have to do a lot of remedial and really go over the information and really use my tutoring resources and YouTube and all of that to kind of catch up, hopefully. But I definitely know that the instructor in that class is not going to help me in the way I need to be helped, so I'm going to have to be proactive about it and really spend time outside of class making sure that I understand the concepts. Today I had a bio class and a math class, and so far we're actually doing okay. Like in biology we're going over the basics of evolution, which is pretty easy, and then the statistics. I've taken a statistics class, I think in 2015, so it's not as old, as it were. Some things that I have noticed as far as just functioning in school is that I overweighed my bag. I know I overweighed my bag. And even thinking I didn't have as much in my bag as I did, I still overweight it. And, obviously with my CSF leaks, I'm not supposed to be really carrying anything heavier than a gallon of milk or over 20 pounds to the point that I'm 6 weeks past my patches. But also with dysautonomia, you get tired quick, and if you have any kind of connective tissue stuff, that can be a factor. And so bottom line was I overweighed my bag, and so I got tired fast. It's also really hot where I live right now, so there was that heat intolerance factor as well. So I felt like I was kind of breathing underwater today just because, you do get that breathless feeling when you're overheated and super tired and struggling. So it was really important for me to make sure I was on top of my fluids all day long, and that I was doing everything that I needed to in order to maintain and keep my symptoms pretty level. So my recommendation for if you have a lecture class where it's kind of long is to, change the way you're sitting. If you can do cross-legged, tuck your foot under you if you can, stick your feet on a chair, on the desk in front of you, whatever, but that'll help with blood pooling if that's a problem of yours. Dress for the weather and make sure that you're on top of your fluids. If you think that you're going to get cold, overly cold in the air conditioning, maybe bring a thin layer to put on, and definitely don't overdress when it comes to heat. Another thing is use your resources. Something that I've done this year that I haven't done in previous years is I went to the DRC, or the Disability Resource Center at my school, and as far as I'm aware, every community college as well as university has them, but I basically said these are the issues that I have, these are the problems I can see myself having. I'm going to miss class because I'll be going to Stanford. I may have to change exam dates around. I may have days where cognitively I'm not all there, so I may need some extra testing time and that sort of thing. So they have a list of reasonable accommodations that you can use, whether it's recording lectures or longer testing time or whatever the case may be. By talking to your DRC, you can really get a lot more help. And so I haven't used the DRC really before, but I basically came to the conclusion that I needed to suck it up and swallow my pride and ask for help because I'm gonna need it. And so having come to the conclusion, if I wanted to accomplish my goals, I needed to ask for help. I went to the DRC and basically said, look, these are my problems, this is what I need. And so they basically said, all right, give us the documentation we need. And so today was me giving my instructors letters basically saying, so-and-so needs these accommodations, please sign off, please talk to your student about what it is you can do, so on and so forth. So I'm signed up with the DRC to have basically time and a half, so 1.5 times more time to take tests. I can go to the DRC to take the test so it can be quieter. And I know that for me, I panic test where as soon as I see people leaving or I feel like I'm one of the last people left, I panic and try to get it all down. So I think that will help. I also am signed off to record lectures. I've never done that before and I'm not sure I'm comfortable with it or if that's the best way to do things, but I wanted to have that option if I decided to use it. I also basically have some things saying that I may be missing classes and to basically keep that in mind if they're testing or if they're grading with attendance. Obviously, you can't just completely not show up ever, but it basically gives you a little bit more wiggle room when it comes to attendance. And since I am going to Stanford now for my CSF leaks, I've also recently gotten a referral to their Dysautonomia center because I really pushed to get autonomic testing, which is something that was spoken about during the Dysautonomia International conference. And I basically said, I need to do this. So I'm still going there for my CSF leaks. I got the referral for the autonomic testing, and I also got a referral for genetics. And I'm wanting to test, hopefully I'll be able to test for connective tissue disorders as well as possible MCAS. That one's really I don't know, but I would feel a lot more comfortable seeing what I can do. And for me, how viable is it? How ethical is it to really have kids at this point? And how much of it is genetic and how much of it is just random mutation? That's stuff that I want to have some peace of mind on. So that's part of the reason why I'm pursuing genetics. But since I'm going to be going to Stanford for a while, it sounds like I wanted to make sure I had all my bases covered. Speaking of Stanford, I recently went to a follow-up appointment where I was pretty nervous because we hadn't scheduled any more patches, and so I was afraid that he was going to say I needed surgery. That was not the case. However, we basically went over my imaging with new eyes and basically said these are the spots we've hit. Here's some more suspicious spots. He basically said everything from C5 in my neck down to about T11 is just screwy and ugly, and I'm basically leaking in I'm leaking in a lot of spots basically. And he said that there are certain parts of my spine that just don't look very pretty, and they're all pretty good indications that I'm leaking somewhere in there. So basically the plan is that we're going to patch, and we're going to basically be patching mid-chest and then basically going up a level every time we go in, starting from around T11, and then I'm scheduled for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 patch procedures, which just makes me cringe because I've had so many at this point. I've developed some nerve pain from the patches where I've developed sciatica from it. But the plan will be that the first patch will be 4 injections, the second is 4 injections, and then the next 2 are just 1 injection each. But basically the plan is to go up a level every time until we see vast improvement. where we basically find the problem area. And he said, if we can find the problem area for a fact and you go, this is the spot, this is it, and then the patch starts to disintegrate and you start to go backwards, we'll hit that same spot again. And if we get the results twice in a row where you're like, this is it, this is like, I feel normal, this is it, then he said he's comfortable with me doing spine surgery or dural repair surgery, which just makes me want to lose it. But if that's what, at this point, if that's what it takes to fix it, then I'm all for it, because I'm kind of over this. But yeah, so we've got 4 more patches coming up. And so at this point, I'm trying to juggle work and school and patches. And I'm pretty sure I'm nuts, because that just sounds like a bad idea. However, my plan is to basically go into this with really, really unrealistic optimism and see how far I can get. Because for me, if I were to just back out of something every time I thought I couldn't do it, I probably wouldn't have gotten this far. So a lot of times I'll do something knowing I'll probably fail, but I have to at least try. And if I fail in the middle, then I know for a fact that I won't have regrets of having not done that something for fear that I wouldn't be able to do it. Because there have been some stuff where I'm like, I don't think I can do this, and then I managed to do it. So by going in with unrealistic optimism, I at least give myself a chance to succeed in areas where I wouldn't succeed at all had I not tried. So the plan is to try to juggle it all and see how well I do, and if I start to either run down too low or my body just won't handle it, then I'll probably cut back on my classes to a more reasonable unit level and basically just take it on the chin. But that's kind of where we're at. And I'm trying to cut down to part-time just so it makes things a little bit more manageable. And I think that I would have more recovery time that way. But at the moment, it's just not feasible. There isn't a part-time position open for me. So I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. But there's a position that might open in October. And I basically said, me, I want it. And I may not get it because I may not have seniority enough for it. So my thought is I have to at least get to October and then go from there. But basically with my patches, it'll be 1 patch a month. So I think that the next one I have is September 27th, sometime at the end of the month. But that's kind of where we're at there. I have a couple different topics that I'm planning on working on, and my plan is to try to make school days kind of a school film day so I can be a little bit more regular. And I know I say that every time, but I really do try. But I'll at least try to make shorter videos just to make sure you guys know I'm not dead or in the hospital. But that's kind of what's going on. We've got work, we've got school, we've got patches, we've got Stanford. And I had a moment the other day where I'm like, I'm nuts, I'm insane, why am I doing this to myself? And I know that my reasons are sound in my head, but sometimes, especially when you are trying to go back to school and it has been a long time and you're struggling with medical issues, it can kind of feel impossible, which is totally okay. It's a total human feeling to just want to throw your hands up in the air and quit. However, it will pass. I just had to take a really long bath and think happy thoughts. So basically where we're at is I'm attempting to kick my life into gear, even if I have to kick the rusty old bucket of my body up the hill the whole way. So that's kind of where we're at. We're doing okay. We're breaking even. And I think that that's a hell of a lot better than what I was doing before. So that's where we're at. But the kitty says goodnight, and I will say goodnight. And this kitty says goodnight as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.